everyone. I'm trying to figure out how to fit everything into the frame, which I don't think will happen. So today I want to talk about, or actually demonstrate, I've been so busy with everything that kind of have neglected my creative side, and at this point I have a very strong craving. I just feel like, sort of bursting with ideas, and I just need to get something in my hands and then hit the paper with it. So that's why I thought, instead of doing just kind of swatches, maybe I'll do a little skin play today. So what I was going to do, the video I have promised, is the one that basically will compare pencils. And I think I will still do that video separately to this video and go in depth a little bit. But today will be partially touching on that subject. So I will be creating a Caucasian skin tone, playing with these pencils and explaining what pencils I like working with when it comes to doing something like this. And I think that in a way will give you also a good idea of how the pencils work. So I have a selection here which you probably can't see, so let me just move things around. So I have a little selection here of pencils that I just picked out. I went through all of the colored pencils. We're not touching on water soluble or watercolor pencils today, just a normal dry colored pencil. And I have basically selected pencils that I feel are, how shall I say, artist grade and fantastic quality. I haven't included other colored pencils, and this is why I want to do a separate video where I will include other, maybe, less expensive or less artist grade pencils, more student grade or craft grade pencils. So yeah, but today I'm going to pick the brands, the top brands that I believe are the best in my opinion. So what I have here is, of course, Polychromos. I have a few pencils. Then I have Holbein's, few pencils here. So these Holbeins I bought open stock. The Polychromos I bought all of them open stock. I have a nice selection now, and I'm not intending to buy a full set, and I'm glad that I dove into, do you say dove or dived? I always want to say dove into. I think maybe dived is the correct way. Anyway, yeah, so I have started using pencils in the way that they were new to me and I enjoyed, but I knew it wasn't going to be my main source, like watercolor, for instance. But the more I started using them and the more I tried different brands, the more I realized that every pencil brand has something different to offer. And then I quickly realized from that what I enjoyed and what I enjoyed for what, like for a certain technique or for a certain need in what I'm doing. So Polychromos, although I love their colors, I love their pigmentation, they're certainly not a pencil I would, based on all of the things I just mentioned, buy a whole set of. Holbein's, I bought a set, which is the pastel tone set. I'll just bring it in here. I have a swatch video for this. I'll try to link it up in the card up there. And then on top of that, I went ahead and I bought a few separate colors open stock that weren't obviously in that pastel tone set. The pastel tone set I bought to be used in a quirky way. So I had a certain color palette in mind, and I don't have a variety, that big of a variety of pencils in these colors, pastel colors. They're beautiful. And let me just open up the box and show you. So they're quite unique and special. You can't sort of get this type of a thing in, many other brands. I actually don't know. Well, I don't think there is a 50 set of pastel pencils anywhere out there, except for Holbein. There might be some pastel sets which are smaller, but certainly not in this big array of colors. So that I thought was very unique, and hence why I bought a big set of these. And then I also decided to try the Luminance, which are by Caran. Now here they are extremely expensive. By here I mean UK. So these are extremely expensive, and thank goodness I only bought a few pencils, because I very quickly realized I actually don't like them that much. And the reason is so this pencil here, the Burnt Ochre 50%, interestingly enough, I didn't like it at all. It felt so scratchy on paper, it felt very dry, and actually you can see the lead broke off. I don't know if you can see that. And that sort of gives you the indication of how dry it can be. And then recently I watched a video somewhere, and someone said that some of the pencils from the Luminance line are quite gritty and some are very creamy. So there's that inconsistency, which I wouldn't want. And then, of course, in terms of light fastness, you can see 2, 1. Some of them have, so this is 3-star, 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 and a 3-star, but it certainly doesn't, there is in no other brand there is the same consistency of light fast. So some colors will be light fast, some colors will be not so light fast, which brings me to the next color, or the pencil rather, is the Derwent Lightfast, which every single pencil in that line, which has 100 pencils, is light fast. So if you wanted to produce something where you needed to have light fast pencils, then you wouldn't need to worry and check every time you pick up a pencil whether, you know, it's a light fast pencil. You could use it because you need to use that color, and that is what I like. Besides that, there's the first pencils that I have tried, which are these, and it's the Derwent drawing pencil, which I thought was the best pencil I have ever come across. The texture of them is stunning. They are soft. When I say soft, they have almost that beautiful, not really a creamy texture, but like a dry creamy texture. So it goes onto paper very smooth. You hardly need to press the pencil onto the paper. And I don't work in layers very often, so I like the pigment of the pencil to come through immediately. I'm quite impatient. I want the impact to be there straight away, because that's how I use my pencils. So it all depends. To answer a lot of your questions, what pencils I would recommend, that all depends on your style, on how you work with pencils, what you're using them for, and what your preference is. My preference is the softness, so that my hand doesn't get tired quickly if I have to do a large piece with pencils, the pigment payoff, and the light fastness. That sort of, when it comes to all three, I feel that the Derwent Lightfast for me is the best pencil to pick. So that is why I went ahead and I bought the 72 pencil set. I couldn't find one here available in UK for the 100 pencils, which comes in a wooden box, because they either sold out or just not available at all on some websites. And yeah, I'll try to link everything I can down below for you that I can find. And for the Derwent drawing pencil, I bought that pencil in the natural set. Let me just grab it. So it's got lovely pencils here in the colors that are not really repeated in the Lightfast. So that gives me a good additional kind of goodness there. So the box is this 24 colors, and it's got the natural colors in there. Great for portraits and all sorts of other things. Okay, so that will be it. I am not intending to buy any other. I feel like I have enough pencils now to work with. Okay, so the lighting will be changing throughout because the sun keeps coming out of the clouds. So what I'm going to do here is I used my, my FOTD stamp set, if you're new to this channel. This is Face of the Day, which you can build yourself. It's a beautiful little fashion face, and you can build these different looks and expressions, emotions and whatnot, and they're really, really fun. So what I've done here is I'm just using them instead of swatches. Basically, I build a little face over here, as I've done there, and yeah, I'm just going to play today, and I'm going to add a few facial features. And let's see, what shall I go for in this one? I'll go for this eye, and I'll go for this lip. So these are still available on my Etsy shop, Alyona Creates. While I'm doing this, I also wanted to update you. I don't know if or how many of you know, but here in UK we're going into the second lockdown on Thursday. Today is Tuesday when I'm filming this, and which honestly I didn't expect. You know, some people were expecting it, a lot of people were not, and I definitely didn't think we'd go into a second lockdown, but here we are. So in terms of my watercolors, which are these, I'm still going to be working on them and making them, but it all depends on how things are, because I wanted to get them out middle of November or possibly end of November for you to get them in time before Christmas. However, with lockdown, everything slows down, and particularly the post office. So I wouldn't want, you know, you purchasing them in November and not getting them until New Year's or something like that. So I don't know whether I will put them on my shop still this year, or whether I just will make them and possibly also other new colors and palettes, and then start fresh in the new year and put them on store. So yeah, I completely was taken by surprise with the lockdown, so I have no idea what will happen now in terms of that. But I will keep you updated in any case. So let's just crack on. We've got the face, and I think I'm just going to line out. Alright, so let's start with the lightest color, and I've got a number of colors here that are similar. So I've got Light Sienna by Derwent Drawing, I've got Cinnamon by Lightfast Derwent, and then we have the Burnt Ochre 50% Luminance by Caran. So looking at the pencil itself, this is definitely the lightest. Okay, so I'll talk you through the experience. When I'm layering this pencil, I'm really not pushing, and I feel like I could get such a beautiful gradient. Is because of its softness and smoothness of the pencil. So that's what I mean when I say creamy or soft. So I could build this up a little bit, and that's basically it. So let's have a look if I can move you in closer. So that's my experience with this pencil. Now, because the Lightfast is very similar, I'm going to go straight into the Lightfast and do the same thing here. Now, I've got a sharper point here, so naturally it needs to come down a little. So I'm just going to get rid of the sharp point, and then I'll have the same effect. So it feels to me exactly the same as the drawing pencil in terms of the smoothness and how I could achieve the gradient without those sort of scratchy, unnecessary pencil marks. Again, like I said before, it all depends on what you want to achieve from your pencils. So that's that. So then I want to try or show you the Luminance, and that's the one I had most problems with. So let's see, the first one was this pencil here. So here I'm pushing a lot harder. Now immediately this is very, very scratchy, and I don't know if you can feel or see, but there is something going on here, which I'll try to show you. So I'm doing the same movement as I just did before, and I'm not getting as much pigment. So I'm going to put a little bit more force into it, and it just feels drier. I can get a gradient here, but it's very unpredictable. Sometimes it skips, sometimes it suddenly gives me a stronger scratch. So for precision and for kind of feeling like you're in control of the pencil, I don't get on very well with this pencil. It does have that sort of grittiness feel to it in comparison. I mean, if I didn't have anything to compare it with, I'd probably be quite happy with it. It's not a bad quality pencil, but if my preference lays with that sort of smoothness and creaminess, then yeah, I can feel the difference straight away. So let's now try to build up a little bit. So there we go. So we tried 3 different pencils. Let me also show you so what's this one? This is the green gold or brown ochre. I'll go with the brown ochre and maybe green gold actually. And then I'll go for one of these colors. Maybe I'll do the lip with that one. Okay, so I'll use now the Polychromos. Now the Polychromos is great to get into smaller details. For instance, if I wanted impact of the pigment and I wanted a small area of it, they're very good because they're hard. They keep their point for longer. So the smoother the pencil, the more you kind of get to use it, if that makes sense, because the more you use it, the more the pencil or the lead goes onto the paper. With a harder pencil, you have a lot more because they just don't, you know, get used up that quickly, if that makes sense. So, but I personally find that the blendability is better with the 2 that I favor, which are the Derwent Drawing and the Derwent Lightfast. Now, if you are not particularly desiring a Lightfast pencil, then I guess the drawing pencil would be just as good. I don't know what their sets are, whether you can get a big one with loads of colors there. So here I'm struggling to get to blend into nothing. I'm just hovering it over the paper. Again, that is purely because of my preference. Of course they're blendable and of course you can do it, but for me I get a faster effect and easier without less work with the other 2 pencils. So just going to build up a little. So you can see I just turned it onto the side that was still sharp and you get immediately this crisp line. And then I'm going to blend that in a little bit. These are beautiful Polychromos if you prefer a harder pencil, and if you don't mind taking a bit longer to blend and things. Some people like to work faster, some people like to work slower with pencils. I'm quite impatient, so that's why I like watercolor. There's no need to, you know, do certain things that take a long time, and you get the impact immediately. So anything that I can find in terms of other art supplies that give me this option, I'll take it. Okay, so that's our eye. Let me see if I can blend this bit a little bit.